The most recent big Assassin's Creed Odyssey update added the loadout system and a free Atlantis quest to hype us up for the DLC that starts on April 23rd, but it actually did more than Ubisoft shared, like a secret increase to stats and the power of certain abilities that drastically changes the game and makes focusing on certain perks way more important than before. I will go over everything in this video and also tell you how to best utilize these changes with an amazing build. Of course, a like on the video would be super appreciated, and let's go. Before we get into it, I want to note that this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, a really awesome looking mobile game that I actually already had on my phone before they approached me, and you can say that I'm really hooked right now. I'm already level 18 with my highest champion being 27 and others are around at level 2, because that is the thing, you earn these really cool looking champions, there are hundreds in this game, and then you go on campaigns, there's a storyline, but you can also fight these huge bosses. Here you see me fight one of the large dragons in the game, but there's also this night boss that has you destroy his shield first before you can get some real damage in. Only he puts up his shield and heals himself every turn, so you want to make sure that you break his shield and then still have enough damage each turn, otherwise you really don't stand a chance. So tactics are really required and it was really awesome to see that. I, by the way, also made a clan called JorRaptor, so totally join that because there are even bigger clan bosses that I want to take out as well. Download Raid now by following the link in the description and in the pinned comment as well, and then you get also a free epic champion and 50,000 silver that you can use in the game. Thanks again to Raid for sponsoring the video, and now let's get into it. Let's start with some smaller secret changes that you might have noticed already. The game now namely highlights its compare function better with a sort of yellow lined text bubble, while before the update it was already there, but maybe not a lot of people noticed it or were aware of it. We see this change now also in the lieutenant menu because we were already able to compare the lieutenants, but maybe it was not that obvious. They changed the icon of the Staff of Hermes that you of course get at the end of the Atlantis main storyline. This is what it looked like before the update, thanks to a shot from Alan, who got 2 of them in the New Game Plus mode. So if you finish the Atlantis storyline again in the New Game Plus mode, they get 2 of these staffs. And now with the new update, they kind of turned it around, made it better reflect the pointy tip of the spear. And not weird that they changed it, of course, because this item plays a huge role in the Atlantis DLC. We got this star next to the New Game Plus mode now in the pause menu, and NA8FA on Twitter reported that you can now assassinate from horseback, with a loading screen tip saying that as well, according to him. And I gotta be honest with you, I never really tried this, because you have to be in the jump mode by holding L1 or the left button on the Xbox. Not sure what the PC key is, but then you can jump off your horse, but now you can also jump on someone and immediately take him out. Again, not sure if this was possible before, let me know in the comments down below, but it's an awesome move that I love to highlight nevertheless. We can say with 100% certainty that they changed the base class stats for the different items. So the first perk that you see on the items either being assassin, hunter or warrior damage. So for example here I have the hero's sword on level 76 with 19% assassin damage, while after update 1.20 it went up to 21%. Just like the Sword of Kings that first had 90% warrior damage, but now after the update a base warrior stat of 21%. So this increase applies to all the weapons from 71 to 80, and then when an item is 81 or up you see a 2% increase again, and then on 91 you see the final 2% increase as well. So you end up with a 25% perk instead of a 19% one on a level 91 or up item. So if you were 91 already, had a ton of upgraded gear, then you saw a pretty substantial damage increase for your current playstyle. And no, Ubisoft did not buff the items, I think they did a bug fix where the numbers of those primary perks on these gear and weapons did not upgrade based on the level of the gear. For example, my level 70 gear still has the 90% assassin damage, just like before the update. So for some reason the first perk on the gear pieces beyond level 70 did not increase while they should have, and now that has been changed. But still, it's a pretty substantial secret change for sure. The biggest of all though is the fact that you can now crit with almost every ability, while that first was not possible before. Ubisoft noted in the patch notes that they addressed an issue that caused the crit chance at full health perk to not work as intended with overpower attacks. Well, what actually happened in the game is far more than that. So attacks like the shield breaker and the Spartan kick, for example, now crit. Not that you use those attacks mostly for the damage, but it's a welcome change, of course. No bigger examples are the Hero Strike assassin ability that now, thanks to crits, can easily take out high health targets, or at least do substantial damage. And all the gameplay in this video is, by the way, on the Nightmare difficulty. Overpower abilities from the sword and daggers, but also from the heavy bladed and heavy blunt weapons finally crit as well, just like the later added Fury of the Bloodlines ability that you mostly use to get adrenaline back, but now it crits as well. So I touched on this in my update 1.20 video, but now I want to focus on how to best utilize these significant secret changes, because it simply means that the crit chance is now the best perk in the game. It was already really strong, but now it applies to way more abilities than before. So I really feel that crit chance and the crit chance while full health mastery levels are now a go-to for almost every playstyle in the game to make sure that you crit as often as possible. I'm now at 89% crit chance while full health, and I can easily get more when I reach level 81 and upgrade all my gear with the crit chance stats. So I have the level 9 perks, meaning that I can reach the 100% crit chance while full health on level 91. And then the party is really on, but right now with the 89%, all my assassinates are almost all crits, making you instantly kill low health targets, or high health targets of course, with the critical assassinates, but also regular attacks with the heavy bladed weapons I use for this build crit almost always as well. And that is sick because my warrior damage is pretty low, as I mostly focus on the assassin damage. So yes, right now after update 1.20, I think it's smart to mostly focus on finding regular crit damage or crit chance perks, or the full health ones, on epic gear pieces, and do that in combination with the assassin damage. And then you will still do a lot of warrior damage as well, you will see that in a second. You can engrave a 10% crit chance on any bracers, so totally try and get that at the Vaso's workshop that you of course find over here on the map. It's really worth it. Adrenaline per crit is also nice for the regular assassinates to get a ton of adrenaline back. I got crit chance and crit damage while full health on the mercenary belt. My legs have crit chance and crit damage while full health, and the chest is kind of weird maybe, but it was the best I had at the moment. Crit damage of course great, and I thought let's go a little bit more tanky as well, and having some extra warrior damage will help too, because you will be switching between assassin and warrior abilities a lot. I put the damage dealt restored as health engraving on the chest, because it will be super important to get health back to full health most of the times, so you can really benefit from the insane crit chance that you will be building. But I find that just engraving this perk wasn't enough, so I think that it's also smart to spend points in the mastery level, so you in the end get the 5% extra damage dealt restored as health. The tactic is not that different as you would normally likely do. Switch between the multiple abilities and let them do the insane damage. Like here I start with the Rush Assassinate to take out all the enemies, protecting the leader and the leader as well. So yes, insane damage thanks to my high crit chance. And then a mercenary was on to me and I approached him with the insane Hero Strike that crits almost all the time, taking away more than half of the enemy's health. And then I switch over to the Fury of the Bloodlines to get adrenaline back. And you see that even with the low warrior damage, I still do some nice hits here thanks to the crits that occur, and a ton of other mercenaries then come and join the party. So then switch over to the Overpower ability from the heavy bladed weapon that now also crits and does a ton of damage, while again I have very little warrior damage. During this time my Hero Strike ability also came back, so I can do it again, critting left and right and easily taking out this mercenary. With one nice crit from the Overpower ability, I take out the pet, and then I use the Vanish so I can become stealth again and then come back with an insane crit from the Rush Assassinate. So it's really focused on the assassin abilities, while you still do a ton of damage with the warrior stuff as well, making you easily able to complete conquest battles with this build too. So yes, you take out the captain enemies with one Hero Strike, and in between you will be using your Overpower ability from the heavy bladed weapon, or just spin around with a charged heavy attack. That still does a lot of damage when you crit, and is great to build up adrenaline too, because you hit enemies multiple times. So that's why I have the melee charging speed engraving on the Minotaur Axe to be able to do these rapid spinning attacks. And overall this weapon is great because of the minus adrenaline cost for the Overpower ability and the extra crit damage. I also use the axe from the Cyclops. That is nice thanks to the extra assassin damage, and also the perk to do more damage on elites and bosses, making it easier to instantly take out mercenaries or other enemies with the yellow icons, and it just helps to deal more damage against these high health targets. You see the really nice minus 25% cooldown duration for all the abilities as an engraving, and this is just another perk that you want to focus on because you do a ton of the abilities that do a ton of damage, so you want to use them as often as possible. And your heal of course as well, so you can also easily get back to full health to have all these effects trigger. And it's really nice to have them recharge while you do the Fury of the Bloodlines ability that of course takes really long to finish, or the Overpower ability from the heavy bladed weapon. And I chose the heavy bladed weapons because the perks on these weapons are super handy to have, because the charged heavy attack is really powerful to hit multiple enemies, let enemies drop their shields, get adrenaline back, and it's simply an area of effect weapon that easily hits multiple enemies. And also with the Overpower ability, so you have the crits on 4 different targets instead of a lot on one, while most of the abilities that you will be doing are focused on one target. So that's why I thought it was nice to have an AoE weapon instead. But overall this build works really well with every weapon category, but I felt the axes were just really nice to use. For a bow, I have an epic one with the warrior damage, assassin damage, and the crit chance. You can engrave crit chance on a bow if it does not have that already, so that might be something you want to do if the other stats are already great, or otherwise you can of course go for another legendary perk. And yes, then I feel that you can take on every encounter in the game, or that the Atlantis DLC will throw at us a nice warrior and assassin combo. And really not hard to make something like this, just focus on the crit chance and some crit damage, try and get the right epic gear and you're good to go. I'm still trying to get the freaking Hades Lieutenant, and will of course try that right now, as I always do here at the end of these Odyssey videos. Subscribe for everything Odyssey. We should see the first Atlantis gameplay like in the coming days, and I will of course keep you up to date here, so again, subscribe if you haven't already. Download Raid on your mobile devices via the link in the pinned comment and join my clan so we can take out these clan bosses. And now let's get to Sargon to see what he is up to. Okay, Sargon, show me what you got. What you got today. Come on, come on. Ooh. Hunter. Crit chance while full health. With the Hunter playstyle, by the way, also nice. Also with this build, you do like crits with headshots. Most of the times, as you will see. Here, damn it. Come on. Oh. Even without a headshot, still a crit. Again, I got a ton of crit chance with this build. It's really cool. Really can't wait for the April content video any day now, like tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. I will keep you up to date here. Subscribe, like the video to support the channel, and I will speak to you next time. Goodbye!